now you're gonna go.
Just
live.
start streaming, start your encoder, the status bar when...
Holy shit. I think I got it. It's bad. It's bad, but it's...
Don't worry about that.
It's live. So, hi everybody, I guess. I mean, you might be here. You might be seeing it. I don't know.
Dashboard still says offline.
There we go. Now we're seeing it. Hey, everybody. I was actually in the process of trying to get music started up for the stream for a pre-show in the way that you are all used to, because we know how, you know, you don't want to change the environment for certain folks, because not every disability is visible. But all the same, I fucked that up, so here we are. We do have a show. And we'll see how well this works out. So tonight on the YouTube Saints, Brett Kavanaugh looks like he's a sure thing for the for the Supreme Court there. After going through an ordeal quite a bit like OJ, we have to wonder after confirmation, will he pledge to not rest until he finds the real rapist? I'm joined tonight by a panel of experts. We have a furry, a wizard, and a woman. I'm sure we'll have lots to say. And I still can't run the Saints. Let me see. I'm just waiting to see if anybody's actually hearing shit.
You just have to realize that any opinions you have are going to be trumped by the fact that I'm always right.
There we go.
Well, you better agree with them all the time. Will be trumped by the fact that I have a vagina.
It's true.
You know, she does have a point there in this day and age. You know, it doesn't matter right and wrong. That which contain the vagina is always right anymore. Let's just look at Blasey Ford, you know.
However, I don't know with the Prussian hierarchy whether or not the gay man has more rights than I do.
Ooh, now we're getting
from my experience.
Let's just jump into it.
Jump right into.
Wait, that's not.
You are triggering the fuck out of me with your OCD. What is all these windows open? Just pick a fucking window.
I'm sorting it out. I'm sorting it out.
Window, man.
Pick a fucking window. OBS is like this big. I can't see anything.
It's
like Jesus Christ.
Fine. Everything's fine.
The only ones that can
just fine. Yeah.
Welcome to the shit show, everyone.
Hey, listen, if there's one thing that, you know, you can say about me when it comes to live streaming, I set reasonable expectations. I let people know that, you know, if there is an internet left after I try to make this work, we're going to call it a good night.
And then he's like, cut the top of my fucking head off.
Yeah.
If Nick
it was better. I don't know.
The entire show going with the background music of...
Here, I'm going to fix it on my end, okay?
He's gonna see. Look at this. I get technical support from my guests who are kind enough to sort of come in here. Sort of like this is like if YouTube had a Meals on Wheels. This is what my guests tonight would be doing. This is charity work, court ordered. In at least one of their cases.
Production help on wheels.
Yeah, not gonna tell you who is court ordered to be helping this otherly abled this highly challenged stream of ours, but one of them forgot to say Your Honor. So I'm joined tonight by the Ranting Gryphon. You guys all know him. Yep.
How's it going?
He's a daily YouTuber, stand-up comic, fur rights activist, I think, in FRA, as they call them. In fact, like, he was probably the most pissed of anyone that Honey Badger Brigade was already taken as a podcast name. But,
yeah, that was a sad day in my life.
Yeah, it was before it was To the Ranting Badger, right?
No, actually, I was always a Gryphon. Although there was a time before I was ranting where I just had this wolf character that I wandered around with, but I didn't do anything with it. He didn't rant or anything, so I was just hanging around.
Well, also joined by the third saint, Anahata Hearts, also known as the only vagina to work on this show outside of Jeff.
Yay!
Outside of Jeff. Now Jeff is away because he had. Apparently, there's some fabulous beach house bonanza going on with his in-laws.
I'm not.
Which is apparently more important than you guys. So please do tweet your displeasure at Jeffrey, which you know.
Yeah, just pile
we're
it
perfectly.
on.
Christ, do you live next to a highway?
I don't usually encourage online bullying.
She does actually live next to a highway.
Sorry. Every time she talks, I hear a fucking L train go by.
By the way, we got and then we get the
turn your gate down, woman.
and we got Alabama's just not to leave him out. I mean, I know you guys might you might not be familiar with this guy. He's got this little channel he runs that's called Magog Morscar, but it's actually tonight we're gonna be talking with our homeboy, the Brooklyn bomber, who knows about the L train, living life in Morscar. Magog, also known as Jeff isn't here, so it wouldn't be fair to make a dox joke. So we're just going to call you Magog for the rest of the evening. How about that?
I'm Jeremy, the creator Magog.
That's his name.
My name.
Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't know
I've
that.
released my name. I'm Jeremy. And
Also, the person who actually...
even outside the persona Magog, I'm an insult comedian. I instantly went after the woman first. But you guys are next.
You broke the news to the entire world that women don't know anything about noise gates. Which thank you, finally somebody. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
My gain is actually turned all the way down on this microphone, so you can suck my metaphorical dick.
I knew she wasn't really a woman.
Well, I mean, like, listen, all penises these days are metaphorical.
Roll the fucking OBS up already, would you? Just make it a little bigger for us.
I'll make it all big for you. There you go. I mean, because
like,
what's that? What's that thing they're doing now with the transvestigations? Have you seen this?
What?
Oh my God, the transvestigation.
I think it's time to look into a transvestigation here because what they're doing apparently it's a thing now. It's like flat earthers or chemtrailers. There's this group of people now that have this theory that pretty much everybody in Hollywood, every Hollywood actor you've ever known, is actually born the other sex and then turned transgender, and they do it by like pausing pictures of them and measuring their cheekbones and the length of their arms and shit, and they're like, oh yeah, Justin Bieber, definitely a girl, definitely.
I'm taking a look now.
Both Shoe-On Head and Arbor Skeptic did videos on it, but I myself went to investigate the transvestigations and found apparently they have transvestigated Alex Jones and have determined that he might be a woman.
No!
They have also transvestigated Hitler, and not only was he a woman, but he was also actually Walt Disney.
They transvestigate Paul Joseph Watson. Like, well, we can't determine if he's a woman or not, but we can definitely tell he's quite a bitch.
I hate the fact that you segued into something. I much preferred me just insulting you all.
Well, hey,
thanks, Brooklyn taxi driver.
I'm fine with a woman insulting me, so you can go ahead and insult me all the time because obviously you're the next to be transvestigated, and now you know what we're gonna find. We're gonna find that you're actually a woman. You probably knew it the whole time.
You're gonna find with this glorious at certain angles, I kind of look like Thanos.
Magog of Horscar,
yeah.
The certain way that your beard grows just screams woman, you know? I don't know how, but it's...
Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, well, I'm on.
I did find an article right away. It's from Medium. It's from August 6th. It's apparently a 6-minute read, so I'm really glad Medium allows us to know how long it should take us to read this. That way we can feel either smarter than we are or, like, maybe we're slightly retarded after reading it. You should feel that way after most Medium articles, by the way.
If this is about transvestigation, then we will be stupider by the end of this. That's a guarantee.
Well, let's just jump into this. The enlightened alt-centrist woman. Oh, I'm already liking this, actually. This is from Kirsty, so I don't think this is what we're looking for. But enlightened alt-centrist woman, trademark, shitposting, feather ruffling, and talking about things and stuff. Posted on August 13th. I've been on a long journey to find people who don't like the trans and look at what they're saying and why they don't like the trans.
The trans.
The trans.
Yeah, this is. I don't think this is a legitimate one. Yeah, this is just a regular ass Medium post here. Let's find out.
It sounds like a troll.
It reminds me of the time that my grandfather referred to a homeless person as a homeless. That's
almost as good as the blacks or the gays. Like
the gays.
All of a sudden, everything in life is a Rucka Rucka Ali song. It's pretty wonderful. I like this though. See, I was not familiar with this, so I'm learning something here. I feel like I'm being woke on some really important shit.
There's something really important to understand here, that these people write articles like this from the perception of the Harry Potter universe. They can just put the sorting hat on people.
It's like
and just whoop,
right?
You
You
could
just
be
shout,
Sis.
Hufflepuff, and there you go.
You'd make a fine Sis, but no transgender it is. Yes, I love
I want to see a skit now of, like, since you can do green screen really good, Nick, you need to have like the Hogwarts Hall behind you, sit down, have the hat on, and then have the hat talk and be like,
even better.
I know where to put you. Janitor.
But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show how the shitty for-profit Common Core American version of Hogwarts. They don't have a wizard's hat. It's just the scally cap with googly eyes on it, and it talks like an angry hamburger puppet. I think I'm onto something here. Yeah.
It talks like the Hamburglar. You can't understand a damn. It just rubble, and it makes some decision that you don't even know what it is. But then you run off and you have to get surgery because it apparently sorted you into trans.
Okay.
So we don't know.
I need to know. I'm gonna do a little sample poll here between the guests and some of the chat here. I want to know which would be a better video. A video of the actual Hamburglar from the old McDonald's cartoons with the voiceover dubbed in of Alex Jones, or Alex Jones doing his bit with the Hamburglar audio playing over that. Inquiring minds need to know.
I like the first one. I like the first idea.
I like the first one.
Yeah,
it's funnier visually.
It's just like...
I like absurdist comedy, so to be honest, I'd love to see Alex Jones with dubbed over audio just going rabble, 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 rabble.
I don't know, but don't you want to hear more about it's turning the frogs gay? That's just, it's not the same without him screaming about gay frogs. I mean, that's
they're putting chemicals in the water to turn the frogs freaking hamburger.
Have you guys not seen the guy who spliced together Alex Jones audio clips and video clips to like a Bonnevere song?
I saw that.
Like a folk song.
Best use of auto-tune.
Alex Jones quotes remixed into an indie folk song.
Best use of auto-tune ever. Now, because actually, do they? See,
yes, at the very bottom of the top chat. Go all the way down to the bottom of the page.
Yeah.
And right there.
Oh, hey! Cool.
Hey!
And it was
and it's broken. And it's broken.
What?
Sorry, guys.
I tried.
No, you did a good job. It was YouTube who wasn't the good boy in this term. I just wanted to take a moment to burn through some of these super chats. JSC
I did nothing. It was the YouTube that was his enemy.
A gay yiff, a cosmic wizard, and a whammon walk into a bar. 14 stitches.
Okay.
That was JSC Hung. Well, I did definitely steal that from Hugh Laurie. 10, I'm guessing Russian dollar redues here. Is that what it is? Actually, Alex Jones is a whammon. He used to be Helena Blavatsky, also known for true theories and really accurate perception on trans-dimensional reality back in the day. Fran Man. That's going to be the next thing. It's like, what universe do these trans come from? What dimensions are they crossing over from, where they can look at their penis and say, that is the most erect vagina I've ever seen? Jeremy Magog...
They're consulting with the gay frogs. That's what it is.
they're turning the goddamn hamburgers gay. Jeremy Magog is Wizard Fluid. That's Fran Man for $2. Thank you for that. Now, this is important, though. We need to focus on this here, this transvestigation shit. I didn't know. See, like, I went to school for criminal justice, and I thought because of my criminal record, the world of private law enforcement was shut down to me. But apparently there are all kinds of private investigators investigating people's privates that you can get into thanks to Reddit and Tumblr. Transvestigator is typically a heterosexual male or female who is obsessed with learning everything about a particular tranny or group of trannies, including drag queen, transvestite, and crossdressers, and will go to great lengths to find out every detail. It's starting to sound like Mark Dice. Sometimes knowing more about their subject than the subject themselves, aka stalker. That's refreshing. I like that. Now,
pleasant, isn't it? Yeah.
It really is. No, I'm really glad that in an age where, like, we've had an entire genre of YouTube content and shit spring up over people saying, why are you so obsessed with what other people do with their genitals? We've got people who are inspired by that to go and obsess about what people are doing with their genitals.
And actually not doing with their genitals.
We're coming full circle here. I'm liking this shit. It's almost
I just hate everything, and I'm pretty sure that we're living on the verge of Ragnarok.
I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah. Also, you're a pretty.
Every day that happens, it's all I can do to actually not just slit my dick and bleed to death. I have to convince myself not to do that every day. It's stupid.
Also because there's easier ways to bleed out. Christ.
Yeah, you gotta go.
You literally picked the non-fun way to bleed out.
Well, hey, if I'm gonna bleed out, I want it to be something special, you know?
No, the way, honestly, I'd say in this point,
you want the paramedics to have a story.
Yeah, and we're gonna this will guarantee demonetization, but I honestly think if you're gonna like mix suicide and like fucking with your own genitals together, you should make it a race. You should, open up a vein and then start beating off or flicking that bean so you get the blood pressure going and you see if you can come before you die.
Ow.
You're welcome.
No, if I were to commit suicide,
all of a sudden, we're not having fun.
If I were to commit suicide, I would jump off a building. Now, that doesn't sound very original, but before I did, I would pack all my pockets with candy and gum.
Oh, so you'd be like a piñata when you hit the end.
Yeah, so onlookers will be like, oh, that poor son of a bitch. Oh, Reese's!
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a little broken
fun,
up, but
right?
it's still Reese's.
Yeah.
Or
gotta make it a little fun.
You could do the same thing, actually, if you just strap yourself with candy and then just fly over to Pakistan and say, like, Allah isn't real or whatever, or, like, maybe gay people should be able to get married. They'll beat you with sticks until you explode in fucking gumdrops.
Yeah, but that costs more. He can just go over into fucking Little Rock and find the tallest building and strap himself with candy and fucking drop. Like,
doesn't that suck that in Muslim countries their cultural appropriation of Mexico is that their piñatas are real people?
Oh, God.
Only there's no candy. It's just viscera.
Yeah. It's just well, I'm going to hell.
Oh, it's okay. I'm really earning these super chats tonight. $5 Giovanna Liviana, where all the white bitches at. She's right here. Down there. And Rhino comes in at $2. Jesus was the original crossdresser. That's true. He did walk. Well, he was more of a cosplayer. He walked around, pretending to be the son of God.
I think that joke is crossdresser because he dressed with a cross.
Oh.
Get it? Get it? Crossdresser.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about passion plays.
I thought. Oh no!
That Jesus, he was a crossdresser.
Oh, he was a crossdresser. Yeah.
Get it? I'll be here all night. Tip your wages.
He was dedicated to that, man. He was just nailed to that thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Right now, if anybody wants to donate.
Boy, that guy who played Jesus, he really nailed that role.
He's probably. I always kind of constantly wondered if he was ever hanging up there. It's like, my God, guys, I'm just swimming in this thing. It's too big. Can I have a smaller one? Maybe a size 1.
Do you wonder though? Like you go to like a Home Depot in like Southeast LA or something. Do you think there's ever been a dude named Jesus who worked in the lumber yard and didn't really even pick up on the irony of it until it was too late?
Do you think Jesus is sitting up in heaven, just sitting around a campfire in heaven with like some really famous people, and then he just brings up like, I've actually forgiven Pontius Pilate because I'm just thankful he wasn't Vlad the Impaler.
Oh yeah, God, that would have been a lot worse.
Would have been a whole lot worse if Pontius
Think about
Pilate...
that. Think about what would the Christian churches have to have on their walls if that had happened. I mean, come on. They put the cross up all the time and the Jesus on it, and even though apparently they're not supposed to do that because no graven images. But if it had been Vlad the Impaler, church would have been a lot more interesting.
It would have, yeah.
It would have started going. It should.
Yeah, Indonesia would be entirely Christian at this point. We did it.
You want to talk about a motherfucker who scared the shit out of the Muslims? That's a motherfucker who scared the shit out of the Muslims. Vlad the Impaler was no fucking joke. They arrived in Romania and just saw a forest of thousands of their troops impaled up the ass, and they were like, whole lot of nope going on in this country.
Some of them still wriggling.
You know, the conquest, you know, the whole conquest thing, I'm not feeling it anymore. I think I want to go back and, you know, plow fields and never, ever encounter the man who did this. I hope he doesn't get nominated to the Supreme Court. Anyway, $20 to, $20 in from Mr. Tickle Trunk for shits and possibly giggles, but don't giggle. But just don't giggles till you shits. Okay. No,
I always wondered about that. I always wondered about doing things just for shits and giggles, because what if you don't get the giggles? Then you're just have.
Then you're just shitting.
You just have the shits.
You're just like every third person on a Philadelphia bus line. Yeah.
Is it worth the risk?
You ever sneeze while you're taking a shit? Nothing clears you out faster, man. Nothing, dude. I figured out how the dinosaurs went extinct.
They all sneezed while they shat and just blew out all of their fucking esophageal system all the way down to their fucking intestines at once.
Everything. Yep, everything just went out. Yeah.
All at once.
You know, I do like how this show is really just reminding me, and I imagine what little audience we have left, as to why it was we came up with the format in the first place.
Format.
Now we do have some news.
You should never have me on. I'll derail any conversation because I don't want to talk about trans investigations. Okay?
Oh no, it's okay. No, I mean we're gonna move from that to something a little more topical. It's something because we try and do news. Now, not all the news is this depressing.
I saw Transylvania 65000. That's enough for me.
For those of you that are just coming in, transvestigations are a thing.
Yeah, and it basically
go find them.
Yeah,
because they're bad shit.
Just follow Mark Dice. It's really all you need to do.
Yeah, you guys know when I don't want to talk about a topic because I'll just start fucking making shit up.
Well, you know, let's move on to this fun topic. No, that's not the right one. Which one's the one I need? Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. We got Kavanaugh. That's right.
Oh
Kavanaugh.
no.
Yep.
I haven't been following a single fucking.
Now you're trying to piss me off.
Neither have I, and this is why I thought it might be worth me looking at it, because the only other thing I see on Twitter is people acting like, developmentally disabled people who are not quite as endearing as the people who are actually sponsored by Easter seals, let's say.
I saw this tweet today from this woman. I can't remember her name, but she was like, I highly recommend all men out there just shut the fuck up today. And I was just like, or what? You're going to murder a man?
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Or outside of that, too. I mean, out of all the men out there who've been married, do you think they're not immune to hearing that at this point? Exactly. That's why you should.
Good point.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Well,
no.
I apparently I'm the only one who actually did watch all of the Kavanaugh hearings in detail. I watched them from beginning to end. I didn't just read the headlines. So,
I caught him live. Live.
Well, he is set right now. It looks like he's gonna be confirmed. We got Collins and Manchin committed to him, and it's really nice too, because I mean, from what little snippets I've heard, they've really gone really in depth into his judicial record. You know, like the whole privacy shit, all that shit about like what the president can and can't get away with, whether or not we should just fully gut all the regulatory agencies and just trust in the companies out there to just do the right thing. We used to have this word started with an N. It's really, I think it's 6 letters, yeah. 6-letter word.
Not the N-word, no!
Oh, neocon, that's it, yeah.
Oh, that word. Okay.
yeah, we used to have that one for guys like this. And, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but so, like, let's go with some hot takes here. Mr. Gryphon, you've followed it. What's your takeaway, huh?
My takeaway from this whole thing, and this is kind of like a situation that I think that we found ourselves in during the election in 2016, because I think that a lot of people who voted for Trump didn't necessarily think he was the best guy for the job, but they just were trying to pick the lesser of two evils. And in this case, I think it's kind of the same thing, because on the one hand, I don't like Kavanaugh. I don't like him at all. But on the other hand, if he lost because of this, then that would mean it's precedent that someone can just point at you and scream and you disappear. That would be precedent in the federal system. And that is far worse. That's far worse than anything Kavanaugh can ever do.
This has gone beyond politics. It's gone to the very heart and soul of one of the founding building blocks of our justice system, which is innocent until proven guilty. due fucking process. This wasn't even a fucking court case. This was a kangaroo court to determine in the social eye whether this man is just a complete piece of shit and should be deleted, you know? And this is what I hate about the whole situation is like, she'll walk away with millions of dollars because of all her GoFundMes. Like,
she's gonna have a book deal. She'll have
a book deal. She'll have like I think they've raised like well over $1 million on her GoFundMes, multiple GoFundMes, and he walks away. No matter if he gets appointed or not, he walks away with a good portion of the American population just thinking he's a rapist. That is fucking dangerous.
Yeah, a little bit. Now, I noticed while you guys were going over that, Anna there decided she was gonna use the opportunity to put some makeup on, doll herself up, kind of cute. I gotta ask real quick: is there some federal judge you're hoping to go party with so you can get a book deal later on, Anna? What's going on here?
I haven't been paying attention to any of it. Nor do I give a single actual shit.
Okay.
I stopped paying attention to literally all politics, all identity politics, everything. I severed the cord like a week and a half ago because I went through a bout of like suicidal depression and went, nope, I'm done.
Like, well,
so
I have a question.
I don't know what's going on.
Side note for Anna.
Side
note for Anna: is the refrigerator behind you have a nuclear reactor in it?
No, but there is a dick butt.
That's a similar thing. Now, but you know, I didn't get any science articles up tonight. But let's just bandy this back and forth. Let's knock our heads together and figure this out. If I'm not mistaken, memes of dick butt have been thought to be able to make warp drive. Mel, what do you think? You've got one in. Has your fridge taken any trips to foreign solar systems?
No,
too late. That was a
long time ago, and it's still somehow holding everything else. So fuck it.
It's like that's the only thing holding the fridge up right now.
I'm so glad that you invited the one woman on stream who's willing to stay in the kitchen and stream at the same time.
I know, right?
Oh God!
I can go make a sandwich right the fuck now if I want.
Right? I want bologna and cheese and ham. A little bit of mayonnaise.
No, talk to me after I go to grocery shop.
Smush the potato chips into the tuna, or I don't want it.
Listen, the Kavanaugh.
That's gross, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
The Kavanaugh situation is fucked simply because it has gone beyond party politics and gotten right into like Salem witch trial level.
Worse.
Oh, we've gone way back to Salem. We've gone way back to Salem.
No, we are. We're worse than Salem because you know what I've noticed that the Kavanaugh hearings and all the activism and all the pundits and all the you know what it reminds me of? Really shitty 2015 YouTube. That's about it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So congratulations, YouTubers.
I was watching Let's Play at that time. So.
And what do they report on? Because there's such a lack of evidence that once again the FBI doing an investigation turned up nothing.
For the seventh time.
Yeah, they report on the fact that he got angry. Wouldn't you be a little fucking angry if everybody was calling you a gang rapist? Like Jesus Christ!
But he cried, dude. What kind of man
seen...
cries? Feminists have been telling us for ages that like men should, not suppress their emotions and shit. But of course, if you do it on TV, you clearly rape somebody.
I've never seen such a case of moving the goalposts multiple times. It's like at first, okay, attempted rape, but nobody who was at the party actually says they remember being at the party. Even the Ford's best friend. She says that she doesn't remember it. She's never met Kavanaugh, but that's not important because he drank a lot in high school, and he put a lot of F's in front of this word that started with F. And now they're dragging you down this road to the point where it's like, eventually they're going to be like, well, one day he came to school and his socks didn't match. Yeah, it's going to be some bullshit. They'll just keep dragging it out when the original charge was attempted rape, and they can't prove it. Nobody can. But they're not sticking with that. They're trying to draw it out into the social identity bullshit, trying to get they're making an argument from an emotional standpoint. They're trying to get people emotional about it instead of actually looking at the facts, which, you know.
It's funny when you mention the notion of moving goalposts, and Giovanna Liliana in the chat there, there's a good $5 super chat, and she's Kavanaugh has a very crappy record on due process as well as privacy, torture, net neutrality. But did they talk about any of that? It was almost as though they were playing a game of soccer, and there was a goal, big open goal with no goalie there, right in front of them, and they're like, "Nah, fuck that thing. I'm going for that one a quarter mile down the road." We're gonna drive this. We're gonna forget about what's gonna make him a shitty judge, which is all kind of obvious. We're gonna ignore that. We're gonna go straight to the well, you have a penis, sir. So did you ever get to doing that?
Exactly.
That raping? You get to do that raping stuff?
Now, don't get me wrong. I haven't looked that in detail into his past court cases for the past 30 years that he's been a judge, or 20 years that he's been a judge, or whatever. And we could possibly have an actual debate about that, whether we agree with his decisions.
Not anymore.
I have no idea if what that young person said in the super chat is true or not. I need sources. I want to see his court cases. I want to see Judge Kavanaugh going, yeah, torture's okay by the Constitution. Like, torture, that's just as, to me, that's just bad a fucking a fucking accusation as gang rape. I want to see the fucking precedent. What torture was he okay with?
Well, no, actually, it was funny because before I decided to mostly give up on, YouTube commentary, which, let's be honest, that's largely an abysmal shit show on its own, in much the same way that this whole hearing shit has happened. I did a short video a while back where I actually brought up the notion of Kavanaugh and all that. And one of the things that struck me most when it comes to privacy, for instance, it was with the it wasn't with the warrantless. Well, no, it was with the warrantless wiretapping, I believe. He had an opinion, which basically came out, and if you read the opinion, it's very legalese, and it says that he feels that it's it's in line with the with the Fourth Amendment protections and all of that, and then he added this caveat, which basically broke down to, but even if it's not, it's okay because national security. But then we also need to remember who the last person who was actually looking to tap him for a serious position was, and it was George W. Bush. Whoa, holy fuck. It's almost like there's a wellspring of really good arguments to be made against this man actually assuming one of the highest juris positions in the country.
We can have that argument.
See, but personally, I wish that people had made those arguments. Why didn't, it's like, he really has had, well, they tried and they lost, so they brought up rape. They're like, okay, well, we've still been outvoted, even though we brought up all these bad ideas, that he's had in the past, these bad judgments he's had in the past, judgments that we don't like, and we think he's going to overturn Roe v. Wade, and we think he's going to overturn gay marriage, and we don't want him in there. They made all those arguments, and through our process, they still didn't win. Now, here's the thing. Here's my position. Even though I don't like the guy either, we have a process for a reason. You can't just go, well, we don't like the fact that we didn't win, so we're going to throw a tantrum, and now we're going to call him a rapist to try and get him out. That seems like a big goddamn tantrum to me, doesn't it? I mean, that's just like,
of course it does.
Well, it is kind of funny, and one of the sad things, and I made the joke about it, reminds me of shitty like YouTube commentary from a while ago, right? But in truth, if we look at this shit, it almost does seem as though these oftentimes asinine, backwards, fucking dog shit arguments that we continue having on the internet ad nauseum and have had for years, it's almost like they exist upstream from real politics. And I hate to even quote Milo, and I hate to quote Milo quoting Andrew Breitbart, but Breitbart said that politics exists downstream from culture, And with this, when I remember when the original anti-feminist shit was happening, when Sargon was coming up and the honey badgers were a new thing, all that, most people, if you'd bring the notions of the arguments that were being had with the anti-social justice, anti-feminism shit back then, most of the people who didn't watch that content online really regarded it as just some weird shit online and some fringe fucking part of the internet. And then all of a sudden, we start seeing it crop up in mainstream all the fucking time. We see academia going to shit, all the arguments that have been made. And now we've gotten to a point where the debate, the argument, the hearings, the confirmation process of a Supreme Court justice comes down to basically a Jessica fucking Valenti article. That's what this has turned into. It's like the Guardian versus Breitbart.
It's also the same mentality we saw when Trump was elected. It's that overreaction to even the mountains out of molehills type of overreaction to even simple accusations. Whether you like Trump or not, whether you think he's doing good for this country or not, we can debate that. But that's not what they were talking about when Trump was elected. I'm still waiting for the concentration camps for trans people that the left promised us when Trump was elected. I'm still waiting for the concentration camps for Muslims. Like, they were that serious about it. Like, he's going to become a dictator and become Hitler and open up concentration camps for gay people.
Well,
and
some people are still waiting for the wall.
For the converse argument, for the opposite argument, I'm also waiting for the gulags that the right promised me.
Yeah.
Well, hey, now wait a minute. There was that there was that article, what is that? The LGBT community of San Francisco wrote an article saying, gulags are good if it's for bigots. Like, it was a serious fucking. I'm dead serious. Well, I read the whole fucking thing. These people were like, gulags were really good for Russia, and if we could just get all the gay-hating bigots into gulags, really I'm like, you're advocating for gulags, you fucking morons.
I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing the same thing right now, and because there's a lot of people that are saying, well, okay, the Democrats are trying to delay this whole process with Judge Kavanaugh and everything, but the Republicans did the same thing in the last year of the Obama administration, and they delayed his pick. And so, my answer, my response to that is, okay, so when they did it, it was wrong, but now it's okay.
Well, I think
it's okay when your team does it. But it's not okay when their team does it.
Here's an even fun and kind of like dovetail on that same point. And here's something that I found fun, and I found it really funny, especially during the the recent rounds of social media bannings of let's be honest, most of them are dog shit, right? Now, that's not saying that it's right for them to be silenced. But, we get millennial woes booted off of Twitter. We get Alex Jones and InfoWars being banned across the board. The very fact, though, that this shows how fucking batshit crazy the world is really getting, because we're now at a point where we have the emerging conservative right wing, right, calling for the government to step in and regulate, private companies. Something you never hear about before, ever.
Yeah, the right wing calling for government intervention.
And what do we get in response, though? we get the left, and here's what really pisses me off, and this is why I know that the liberal left that I used to be used to is gone, because the old liberals that I used to know would have crassly snickered at them saying, private company, bro. But instead, they're ardently saying, no, it's a private company. We can't have the government stepping in. It's like, oh Christ, could you please, if you're gonna try and write an op-ed for Vox, before you do so, maybe watch some backlog Bill Maher so you can get some fucking perspective here. It's fucking hilarious, and it's and I'll say this, and I'll say it because I know he'd be cool with me saying it, because he said it himself. Vernaculus. One of the most honestly thoughtful political, YouTuber people that I can think of. You agree or disagree, you can never argue with the fact that Vern actually takes the time to really give what he's going to say a lot of thought. And he was texting me today. He's like, what the dude, I think I might be the most black-pilled motherfucker out there right now. I just want to write fiction and watch everything burn. I'm like, yes, welcome to my world. Welcome to the boat. It is small, but there are snacks in the aft, and there are games in the fore. Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I just want to edit my shit, do my videos, and watch cat videos forever.
I've gotten to the point where I'm looking forward to my own fictional character conquering your world.
Well, even I mean,
sit around like a Harry Potter fan wishing it could be real. I wish magic existed so that someone could come and kill all of these people on Twitter.
That's the whole reason I created my YouTube channel. I was like, man, nobody's doing it. Evil necromancer wants to conquer our world. I guess I'll fucking do it, because I really want that to happen.
15 years, for more than 15 years, I've been a political comic. I've been happy to do that. I've been doing stand-up. I've been making videos, and there's always something that I've found, to make fun of in politics and sociology. And it's been really hard for me lately over the last couple of years, particularly, because there's nothing I can find funny about it anymore. I just want out. I don't want to even think about politics or sociology anymore. And that's bad for a comic.
Funny. It started being cringe.
It's just cringe now. And I don't even want to deal with the topic anymore, which is bad for a political social comedian.
I do want to say you were actually like, you tiptoed up to a joke that I saw. You almost said politips, yeah.
Politips.
Yeah, they're like polyps, only in the political world.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so we could go on endlessly about this shit, and it's funny because this even started about Kavanaugh, and it is a little fucked because on the one hand, if you're the kind of person like most of us are, who we kind of make hay by making fun of that which is obnoxious and stupid and horrible. The fact that like the worst satires any of us could have thought of 5 years ago are now, they pale in comparison to the reality we face. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's maybe we should look at something else then, because
what's really sucks about the whole political situation. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
This just popped into my head, and I like interrupting you.
No, interrupt him forever.
No, like seriously, like.
Everyone's like, is he a necromancer? No, he just interrupts people really well.
Right. With everything.
No, he gets his power.
I don't blame people who don't, who just want to get out. Like even political comedians, even though comedy is like under attack, and I think it's important for comedians to stand their fucking ground and be like, I'm just telling jokes. But at the same time, I understand people want to break away from it. They're fucking tired of it. It's starting to eat into our brains. And so that we are constantly searching for escapism. And so we escape into entertainment, right? But then we turn around and try to escape into entertainment, and fucking Hollywood's filled with the fucking politics and the SJW crap, and they're putting it in movies, and they're putting it in, and you're like, fuck, I can't get away. I can't escape.
Well, that's why I still watch wrestling, because that shit hasn't leaked into wrestling.
Well, here's an interesting. Lots of shit leaks in wrestling, mostly like joints and. No, I mean, well, here's an interesting thing. It was kind of based on a video I did kind of recently, and I think 2 is a good person, but definitely Magog, and of course Mel too. To really kind of craft comedy, like there's a reason comedians fucking off themselves and get heroin addictions and shit all the goddamn time. It's just to really be able to, Jeremy's talking about escapism. We want to escape all this horse shit, so we look to entertainment, right? But then we see entertainment now, if it's not being infected with these like these pressure in molded fucking narratives that are put into everything. We have to look to the comedians and the comics, because those are the people who are actually going to be making fun of the shit. And they have to be the ones who spend the time genuinely thinking about the shit enough to a point where you can find something that's absurd and funny and works for a joke. And that means you have to wade through all of the unfortunate fucking reality of that. When I started seeing the outraged crusaders going after comedians in the same way, and it's not a new thing. The Christian right did it before. We're like, oh my God, you can't say that joke. He said he was talking about boobies, that kind of shit, right? Lenny Bruce, yeah. We go back, we go back that far. This is nothing new. And I remember when they were going after gaming.
Lenny Bruce is spinning his fucking grave right now.
It's the same shit, but I have to.
There's a lot of comics. George Carlin, Red Fox, they're all spinning.
But tell me this: when I saw Razorfist really hit him hard when Norm Macdonald capitulated and apologized. First for a
you
joke.
mean Norm Macdonald cucked the fuck out?
Yeah. Well, and it is. Yeah. It's a funny thing because Norm's a bit older. Girl. Here's the thing I'm thinking though. Norm's a bit older, and actually just last night, in the midst of one of my worst insomnia fits ever, I found Norm Macdonald's Twitter. And if you follow Norm Macdonald on Twitter, it is not the crass joke of oh, she called me a date rapist. Oh, you must have made a great impression.
Well, good portion of it's like sports live tweeting.
It's sports live tweeting, but he was talking about writing, and he was talking about making his book last night, right? And it was funny because I realized maybe he's just getting old or whatever. But I'm like, do you think maybe it's going to get to a point where it's going to fall on the young comedians to really take up the mantle of telling these self-righteous busybodies to just get fucked. Because the older guys, yeah, we don't have Carlin anymore, and you got guys like Norm Macdonald who are trying their best to keep shit moving as they get older. And you see him, and he's actually like a really like sensitive, thoughtful person. He's not the Norm Macdonald we all see.
You know, I was thinking about this kind of thing recently. Like, I just got back into a comedian that I was a huge fan of growing up, which is Andrew Dice Clay, which his shit would not fucking fly now.
Not right now.
Like, no. And
There's
I was a
huge
huge fan growing up. And I was watching some of his more recent, like, podcast interviews with Joe Rogan, and how he still sells out, like, arenas and stuff like that. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, you're selling out arenas and stuff. Is that the old audience? Are you still, like, bringing in people
like
who were
Elvis.
born in the 50s, 60s, 70s? Like,
yeah, he's selling out to like people who've loved him since the 80s. Like, he's selling out auditoriums, but it's like Elvis. It's a bunch of old people, which is fine, and you got to get those people entertained. But there's still hope. We got Bill Burr and Joe Rogan who are towing the line.
Yeah, you got Bill Burr, you got Joe Rogan who doesn't really
I don't know. Okay, to respond to something that you said, I don't think that in this upcoming generation, I don't think there are going to be any comedians because they don't know what comedy is. They don't know what humor is. They think that comedy is a code word for standing on stage and saying mean things that are supposed to hurt people. They don't get what comedy is. They don't understand it, because to understand humor, to understand comedy, you have to have undergone some kind of tragedy. Mm-hmm. And they have never had a bad day in their life.
It's that tragedy plus time thing.
Exactly. The worst thing that they've ever had to face is somebody who disagrees with them. They can't even handle that. So how are they going to be able to understand a form of communication or entertainment that deals in tragedy? They can't do it. And so I don't think there's, I mean, I've seen some younger comedians that are coming up right now, as the aforementioned, what was her name that just got arrested?
Amy Schumer.
Yeah, Amy Schumer. I don't know if you watched her, but
Grimace
her idea of comedy, yeah, is coming out.
Her idea of comedy is every women's comic. My vagina smells, and look how much black cock I can suck.
Also, hey, Trump. What about sucks? Right? Laughs.
Yeah.
You know,
what's
it's like
the
that's
deal
not
with Donald Trump?
I mean, I can't.
Trump.
I used a clip of her, but did you see? There was. I mean, like, it's kind of one of the new go-to examples of progressive comedy. It's this Australian comic wears a fanny pack, and she's like, "Who wants to hear about my dad's Google history?"
Oh, Demi Lardner.
Demi Lardner. That I thought was a
I did a whole video on Demi Lardner. It about drove me insane.
You know what I hated about that bit most of all? Is it has potential. Dad's
potential.
Dad's Google history had potential. Like, the first joke I thought was kind of clever. Who is the woman? Like,
it was a little clever.
Not bad.
It was a little clever.
Better than half the shit I write.
It falls on that same, like, oh, look at old people, they suck, they don't understand.
It's Adam Sandler. It's almost like almost like politically correct Adam Sandler comedy. And I say that because Sandler's comedy really does boil down to, hey, look at that fat guy. Oh God, he's funny. And I hate that because people in my city still think that's funny.
Yeah, it's low brow.
From New Hampshire, you would probably think that was funny too.
Well, I mean,
in my own experience,
we created
this
Sandler
is also something
and Silverman, and I can't.
This is something that other people actually, agree with me on. But in my experience, and this is just laying it down like flat, comedy cannot exist without the possibility of offending someone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It can't.
But I also do disagree with you, Griffin, because I feel like there are comedians like myself who are going to pass the torch. There are people who watch my channel and go, you fucking inspire me. I want to start a YouTube channel now. I want to try to be an insult comedian. I want to try to speak mind. It is, but it's being forced on the ground a lot like rock and roll. It'll bounce back. We'll get another Bill Hicks.
We're gonna get a wave. We're gonna get a wave. I think we'll get a wave. And I've been talking about this sort of phenomenon, especially when it comes to things like film, right? when you listen to like the film critics, right? Like 2 of my favorite channels are Your Movie Sucks and Red Letter Media.
Yeah.
And you hear, and from the both of them, you hear the constant refrain of the studios think that this is what people want, so that's what they keep giving them. They keep getting all this schlocky superhero shit. We get all of these massive IPs, and they're hoping that they can build some Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings franchise out of it, right? Now, in the course of that, though, if we look back over the course of film in the early 2000s, what we found is, for like, you know, as that built, yeah, as that big IP enthusiasm, the epic series and big CG everything, as that built, people got bored of it, and then towards like the latter half of the 2000s and into the early 2010s, we had this short-lived renaissance of indie film, where these quirky Wes Anderson things were coming up out of nowhere. And then the studios picked up on the people were enjoying that because it was something different, and then they took that and then they turned it into shit, which is what we've seen with comedy. I think you're right, Jeremy, in that we're going to see, like, I think we're going to see more Anthony Jeselniks. I think we're going to see more people who
want to see more Anthony Jeselnik.
Here's the big thing too. We're also coming into a technologically advanced age where you can do bigger production things for a lot cheaper. So I'm building this sitcom, this show around Magog, and for just fan funding, I'm able to create the comedy I want to do without some network telling me, oh, you can't put that joke, that's offensive. Like, I get to do what I want to do, and I am working hard to prove to people that you can create something amazing in the independent realm that is popular, that grabs people's attention, that is funny, and it goes back to the old Mel Brooks stuff, and it goes back to the old Monty Python stuff, and it's gonna build a new generation in the underground first.
And we're gonna need people who are not afraid to go and touch taboos. It's a funny thing, like I shared it with you recently, Magog, that heroin ad, yeah. You know, advertising heroin is a cure for your social media anxiety. It was funny because when I was putting that together and when I put it out, like, it did occur to me, and it's probably because there's a massive fucking heroin problem here. But like, there would be, if enough people watched that, there would be some kind of backlash about, oh, that's so insensitive because, you know, this is a serious problem. And it's like, yes, that's why we need to make fun of it.
Well, that's nobody's funny, willing specifically to do that. Here in New England, where we have that as like just a prevalent, always on the surface issue.
But in general, being able to dive head first without even looking into tragic, horrible shit. I have a friend who has that. Yeah, you start with Elmer's glue and work your way up.
Like, how do I get a curly Q mustache, like a villain mustache?
Well, actually, Anna knows.
His fucking his pencil mustache is amazing.
Yeah, that
is. No, you know who's rocking it? You know who's rocking it? Seriously, Wang. Justin Wang is rocking that fucking.
It's the Asian genetics. They have that kind of hair where they can just do whatever the fuck they want.
Also, in fairness, like, Wang is the kind of Asian guy who, like, you know, if it was like 120 years ago and, like, you know, the steam locomotive had just come to this particular province, he'd be the one who adopts the Western style. Like, yes, we need more of this. Yes, very good. Kill the natives.
I want to see a Wang do like a "There Will Be Blood" parody.
Oh no! Wang do a "There Will Be Blood" parody. Only it's coupled with The Last Samurai.
Yeah, right.
Oh no! God.
I love this. Like, there's a relatively decent chance like Chu doesn't even actually know the people we're referencing, but he's like, oh God, no! I could just see what that would look like.
I'd love Wang to be like, you know, because he blew up so big. I'd love him to be like, and here's my straw, and I put it over here, and I sucked up your subscribers. They're mine. You know?
Right. Well, no, the only reason I was kind of freaked about that was because, you know, the idea of, you know, Wang mixed with The Last Samurai actually kind of gave me a bit of a boner there. So, it's like, have you ever had a surprise boner?
Blame you.
Have you ever had a surprise boner? It's like you're sitting there and you're hearing something that you don't expect is going to give you a boner, and then you're like, whoa, what?
So,
hey, if I had the required equipment,
everybody out there listening right now, I'm sorry, everybody out there listening right now, if everybody can tweet at Bunty King and tell him that Magog, I would literally pay money to just see a video of Bunty King doing like a Bollywood dance.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just get that Indian music. I know it's a little racist.
No,
Just
but
the big, the
Indian thriller.
The creepy. Oh.
Thriller.
Bollywood thriller, yes.
Bollywood thriller from Bunty King for Halloween. Hashtag the fuck out of that. I want to see it happen.
Yeah. And now I want to catch up with these just because people keep throwing money at me, and I love it when they do that. $1 Streamlabs from Crab90. A race to the climax: genocide or suicide. That's a little Mein Kampfy, but yeah, okay. Also another $1.
I say one and then the other.
Yeah, well, classic liberals are basically libertarians now. By the way, I am still technically on the ballot as the libertarian candidate for state rep here in New Hampshire. So none of you who are in my district, go and just write me in on the ballot. If you go and vote and you see a thing and you don't care who the dog catcher is, just write me in, and I appreciate it.
Nice.
But he says, I'm just too stubborn to give it the label. Should we give the should we give the label of liberal? I still say liberal because it's a general qualifier, but then it's funny because then I hear like people like Dave Rubin and Sargon use it too, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, I just describe myself as vaguely leftist.
No, liberal has become a 4-letter word because how Americans
almost a slur at this point.
Yeah, it's just, but it's so easy to say. Then it's so much easier to say than progressive. I try to catch myself when I'm about to say liberal because I grew up saying
myself a progressive after fucking Bernie
I gotta hang on. I gotta offer this because like I watched the label of progressive grow in popularity when I was doing shit like union organizing and like community organizing and political work and all that. And I still like the word liberal. Now, at the time, what I realized is that it was because, like, the Fox News style, like, the last vanguard of the right that came up at the time made liberal into, yes, a dirty fucking word. You couldn't fucking use it. So then they're like, no, I'm progressive. But now, all these progressives are like, liberals? They're basically just Nazis who shop at Whole Foods. And, you know, it's...
Well, the word progressive has to mean something.
Well, it used to. It used to.
The word progressive, but now, I mean, we're talking about progressives and the quote-unquote progressives. These are the people who have thrown us back to the Salem witch trials. That's regressive.
Well,
that's not progressive.
Who was FDR's original vice president before he got shunted out during the convention and Truman was installed? George Wallace? It wasn't Wallace, no. George, someone on the chat will remind me, and I got super chats coming in, so I'm pretty sure they will.
Got shot, but I don't.
No, it wasn't.
Giovanna Liviana probably knows. You.
Yeah, Giovanna knows. But, here's the thing. I mean, like, so here's the thing. He adopted the mantle of progressive, right? And his vision, which he inherited from FDR, and you can you can go into the razor fist world of McCarthy didn't do nothing if you want. But all the same, at the time, FDR wasn't a
full stop. Wait, what?
Yeah, no, Razorfist did a really well-made video. He did it was really well-made, and it was very compelling. But basically, he was trying to say McCarthy didn't do nothing.
He didn't.
Razor.
All the same. Hang on, let's not. I don't want to lose track because we haven't even gotten through the first news item yet, which I guess we're just gonna throw the format out the window. But here's the thing: the vision for post-war, the post-war world and post-war Europe, especially in terms of U.S. versus Soviet relations, in terms of FDR's sort of anointed successor in George, what's his name, which I'll find out in a second. He actually wanted, and working with, I think it was Khrushchev, too. Khrushchev was a bit more moderate in the Soviet world on his own before the hardliners pushed him. But the idea was they wanted competing systems. They're like, well, you've got this idea, and we've got this idea, so let's make these work as best as we can, and we'll borrow as we need to from each other, and then in the end of the day, we'll figure out who's got a better system all in all. And instead, what we ended up getting was Truman and let's nuke the nips and call it a day. We're going to set up a big blockade, military alliance blockade, call it NATO, fuck the Russians, fuck socialism, fuck all that shit. And it became this same sort of like insane divide that we have now, to where if you, for instance, think public libraries are a good thing, clearly you're a fucking Marxist who wants to shoot conservatives in the head, and so on and so forth. Now I want to burn.
We've seen moral panics before. We get it.
Oh yeah, no, and it keeps recycling. It keeps recycling.
Oh yeah, we went through one not that fucking long ago. It's still within like most of our lifetime. We went through the Satanic Panic.
Well, hysteria it's going on right now. I mean, we're living through that kind of the same thing currently. I've never seen anything that compares more with McCarthyism than what's going on right now at this moment.
Now I'm gonna get through these because I hate it when people give me money and I don't get to read the things. Biggest ass in a while back said left or right choose. My answer is no. Pretty flat out. $10 with
I would rather cut off my own tits now.
Cogum Mandoa, and I like that because that sounds like a character from the new Star Wars Mandalorian series that's coming out. But $10, nothing said. Thank you for that. Giovanna Liviana, $5. Just wait.
How do you get laid?
Me? Or her?
Nothing going. Your hair's nice. I didn't say anything.
There we go. My hair's fucking
Your socks
fantastic.
match.
Yeah.
You're an awesome person.
I wear vests and shit, dude. Sometimes pocket watches.
You're welcome for the hair, by the way.
Yeah, she did. She did a good job taking care of that.
Nick, I just want you to know that pumpkin spice is people.
Pumpkin spice is not people.
No, that's true. Soylent Green was unquestioningly popular. Okay. $5, Giovanna Liviana. Just wait till my armada of Romulan warbirds decloak in orbit. We shall liberate you Earthlings from all this vapid sterility. Very true. The Romulans they'd spice things up. Rhino says to
live long and prosper, cousin.
Yeah, Giovanna. He says to Giovanna for $5. Q is the only actual Star Trek character, and all the shows take place in his mind with fictional people. I kind of like that. That's a Saint Elsewhere kind of ending to the whole thing.
Interesting.
Yep.
You want to move on with the format after this?
Well, because I mean, this next one's fun, and then we're just gonna devolve into arguing about this shit anyway, so it's fun. $2, Jables Boogly. Offense is taken, not necessarily given.
I did an entire video on that. One of my earliest videos was on how offense is not taken but given.
Very true. No, that's
from a philosophical and psychological standpoint.
Well, holy shit! I made it all the way through all of those. That's
you mean the other way around, right?
I started with philosophy and ended on psychology.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like when
you said offense is not given but taken. It's the other way around, isn't it?
Did I?
Yeah.
No, it's not. You opt to take. You opt to take offense. Not give it.
Offense.
Yeah, you take offense.
Never...
You don't give offense. You take offense.
Yeah. Now, hang on. There is like I'm sure a subsection you could probably find on FetLife where people just get off by like take that offense, take it.
Now I will say one last thing to close this out. I'll say this one last thing about the Kavanaugh situation to close this out. We should believe women, except for
believe women. Respect them.
Respect and trust the women.
We should believe women, except for Bill Clinton's accusers.
I have never in my life had anything against women. I've always been supportive of women.
You're so respectful, you don't even want to put stuff inside them.
Gay men are usually pretty respectful of women.
I have no problem with women.
Well, here's the thing: I think that's a really good segue into what we got next. And I want to say before we go any further, I really enjoyed this channel. I will miss it when it's gone. So yeah. So in respect to respecting women, Maryland woman allegedly sets apartment complex on fire because she was quote upset with ex-boyfriend. Officials say.
It's a bit excessive, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait. It may be excessive. What did he do?
Look at all this.
That's kind of an important factor.
Nobody ever asks that when a dude punches a chick in the face.
Yeah.
What did she do?
Look at all this, and also look at all this. Look at all this toxic masculinity here in the lawn, where these guys are just trying to make a.
Whoa!
Goddamn.
That's not a small fire. That's
this is the thing. She didn't just like this. Isn't this? She didn't just allegedly. Yeah, she didn't just allegedly like start a little kitchen fire and try and like fuck up his like PS4 or like destroy his Nintendo Switch here.
Somebody dumped
She
gas
opened up a bit of hell on earth there.
Yeah.
What she did. Christ.
Natasha Ciara Joyner, 32, from New Carrollton, Maryland, has been charged with several crimes after setting fire because she was allegedly upset with her ex-boyfriend. A Maryland woman is in custody after officials say she set an apartment complex on fire because she was, quote, upset with her ex-boyfriend. Natasha, blah, blah, blah. Displaced 130 residents, caused $2.2 million in damages. Yeah.
I have to interrupt you, Nick. I'm sorry. You missed Gabby G. Wiz's $5 super chat. I got you, Gabby.
I'm gonna get
I got you. I got your back.
Listen,
I got your back.
If there's,
I love you, Gabby.
Don't
worry.
We love.
We remember you, Gabby.
We love Gabby. We do love Gabby, and we respect Gabby. She is a woman, and she's respected.
She is a woman.
But I mean,
respect the wham.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm talking about this woman burning. Like, listen. You know what? This woman was burning through an apartment complex the way Medicare burns through super chats. But bam! Now I got a reason to put it off.
He missed your $5 super chat. You need to burn his apartment down.
Yeah, the whole
burn
building.
It down.
Whole goddamn building. Fuck this shit.
I believe you, Gabby. I believe you.
I believe in Gabby. In fact, like, you know what? Well, it was a $5 super chat, and it was just a heart, and I believe that.
Hashtag believe Gabby.
Hashtag
believe Gabby.
It's gonna actually start trending because people will think Gabby Giffords is accusing Brett Kavanaugh of raping her. It's gonna be great. Yeah. I just love how this show can just affect the broader world. You know, that's what we all came together to do. Yeah, the investigators soon determined the blaze was, quote, incendiary. No shit. Doesn't that word actually just mean shit is on fire?
Yes, I mean,
so yeah, I'm really glad that the Maryland Fire Department knows. It's probably like some dude. He's like, no, a little bit. He's just sitting in the fire station, just thumbing through his like thesaurus, and then he's like one of the like reporters like, sir, could you describe this fire? Yeah, you bet.
It was incendiary.
Incendiary.
Yeah, just a little bit of a sidetrack. A little bit of a sidetrack here. Just tiny little story. One time I was getting on a flight to Australia, and so we had to go through all the bag checks and everything. And when I got up there, the receptionist, she asked me all kinds. Did you pack your bags yourself? Did you know all that good stuff? They
still ask that?
Yeah, they did when I was doing this flight, at least on international flights. But she asked me specifically, and she looked right at me. She said, "Is anything in your bag flammable?" And I was like, "Yeah,
technically everything."
Everything. The bag itself is flammable.
Basically everything, yeah.
And they were like, "Wait, confused. What you have inflammatory and material?" And it's like, "Yeah, there are clothes.
Did they want to say combustible?
I think they either wanted to say combustible or inflammatory.
Listen,
they weren't smart enough.
These are TSA.
You're flammable.
Yeah, these are TSA agents we're talking about. So, I mean, you know, it's that sort of thing. Like, they look at their GED scores and they're like, well, you probably managed to tie your shoes in the morning.
I don't understand why you missed that entire opportunity. That same thing happened to me at an airport. And the moment the person's like, is there anything flammable in there? I was like, honey, everything I own is on fire.
See,
my pants are on fire right now, girl.
It's a non sequitur. And I've done a decent amount of flying. The one time I've gotten in actual, not trouble, but the one time I had TSA actually like look at me weird. It was one of the first times I was flying through, I think it was Detroit, when they just installed the body scanners. And I was drunk. You know, I got a 2-leg flight from fucking, for some reason it takes like 2 different legs to get from Wisconsin to Boston. And so I come out of the body. I come out of the body scanner. No fucking idea what it even is. I just know I got to stand in this weird booth. And I come out and I'm like, hold on here. I'm like, is this the future? And I'm like, what?
Remember like us coming out of LAX?
Time machine, isn't it? Oh, that's right. Yeah, they got all up in you.
I got stopped. I got stopped because apparently, like, my crotch lit up. And the funniest part about that was I was on the last bit of.
Hang on. Jeremy needs a moment. Jeremy needs a moment to dwell on that.
I was about to say, girl, you got to give me your number or something. Your crotch lighting up. I like that.
It's fucking glow in the dark pussy enough to make a man straight.
I'm open to all kinds of things. Okay.
So is TSA.
This is my second flight ever, and I'm going to the standing business thing. And the crotch lights up. They're like, okay, you need to stand over here. We're going to fill you up, whatever. And The funniest thing about that was I had not packed enough underwear for the entirety of the trip.
Ah.
I was wearing a very loose skirt or something like that just because I was not wearing any underwear.
So your tits lit up.
So my crotch lit up, and the funniest part about that was I wasn't even wearing underwear. There was nothing going on down there. There wasn't even hair.
Yeah, can you? There's no reason like a small bundle of cocaine should set off a scanner like that.
You gotta keep that lead underwear on to keep the radiation from coming out of your magnificent crotch, girl. That's what's going on here.
Sorry.
Also,
fucking Anna, my vagina is an arsonist.
It's here.
My child's gonna fucking burn down LAX. Like
hashtag arsonist vagina.
What I really love, listen, I believe women, and that was clearly just a TSA agent trying to start a campfire using her labia. So
maybe this girl actually said
number 2. She was kind of cute.
What I do love.
This girl actually set all the buildings on fire with her vagina.
Well, what I really love about this particular story, though, because we flew together, is that despite the fact that they thought her vagina might be a dirty bomb, we smuggled a lot of weed back from California.
Like a quarter of fucking Cali bud.
Yeah, it's like not a problem. I had like medical rollies and shit like in my carry-on. When I was coming back from Kilroy too, this was funny too, because when I was coming back from Kilroy, I was bringing a bunch of medical grade THC products back. Now, when you land in Boston, nobody gives a fuck. But it was funny because I had one of those I had some random desert flower that I'd picked while I was wandering around on a golf course. Yeah. In my journal, I pressed this thing in my journal. I've got I'm going through TSA. I'm like, well, I've brought shit through security before, but never this much. Let's see what happens. And then they're like, we need to take you aside, sir. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, who packed my bag? I have no idea. They're like, what's this in your journal, sir? I'm like, oh, fuck, that's a flower. Can you show us? And while I'm flipping the book open, she's standing back it's she's expecting it to be that scene from 12 Monkeys where it's it's odorless. It's great. So yeah, no, it's a great thing. It's a nice thing. Now keep in mind what we don't know, because they've said even here too that this woman in the story is allegedly she set fire. Maybe she was just maybe she was just sitting on some flammable furniture. And she had she had an Anahata Hearts Vigugu that I know.
Maybe she had a flaming vag and it just fucking.
It's official. If Vigugu doesn't get added to the dictionary in 10 years.
Well, we've already been working on Vagu.
Vagu and Fagu.
And Fagu.
Yeah. Can you imagine Google coming out with a product to be progressive? They come out with Vigugu, a Google search engine that only women can use.
Or just alternately, it just gives you it doesn't give you the results that explain what's happening. It gives you the results which validate your feelings.
Speaking of Google results, and I swear to God, this is, it kind of bothers me, but at the same time it doesn't. But if you go to Google and you search for literally black married couple, you're going to get pictures of married couples who are black. If you search for Latino married couples, you're going to get Latino married couples. If you search for white married couples, they will consistently show you white people and black people, or white people and Latinos, or white people and Asians, but they will never show you just two white people.
So if you by the way,
you can test that out right now. You can do that right now.
Well, to the viewers, real quick, if you're just joining us, so this is I'm joined by Magog Morscar, Anahata Hearts, and Millennial Woes. He's lost some weight and grown a beard since losing his Twitter, but he's here to bring the real issues.
Really got into dick in the last month or two.
Yeah, he got really into dick, and he kind of likes dressing up like an animal from time to time for conventions. And
something happened to me. I don't know. It was the heroin.
Yeah, it's he lost the accent and he gained a real sense of humor. Dot executables, $5. Back in the slave days, we didn't have electricity. Everything ran on. Nope. No.
Negawatts.
There we
He
go.
said negawatts.
Yeah. This is
The word was negawatts.
I already have my partnership, Anna. How about you? Oh well, I guess we're back to the same level.
I got mine on Twitter.
Five,
or not on Twitter, but Twitch.
$5 heart from Gabby.
I say faggot like every other word.
$5 seriously, who farted? Who's that pasty milquetoast guy at the bottom of the panel? I thought Magog was going to be here. They really hate it when you're just a human
pasty
being.
fuck. Who are you? Who even the fuck are you?
Do you want to interrupt?
I'm the guy who fucked your mother.
Who you are?
Oh, he's your dad.
Sorry, you're too old to be one of mine.
Giovanna, stop it. Those fools are not progressive. We still exist, and the name is Henry Wallace. That's it. Yes. Second VP under FBR, but he got the boot so they can install Truman. And Truman, funny enough, small little side note, Truman was basically the Democrats' version of George W. Bush. He was a rich kid who failed and killed multiple businesses. He wasn't really good at anything except getting elected when doing what people told him to do, and then being a senator by doing what people told him to do. So he was really good for the party in that way.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit bad for George W. because he really just kind of was just a puppet.
JSC Hung.
Oh, he was.
JSC Hung comes to us with $2 with an actual...
I met George W. Bush. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, that was a good
Really?
picture,
I knew that.
I shook hands with him. I have a picture signed by George W. Bush with me shaking his hand. I remember the day I met him because he got off Air Force One and all us airmen lined up to meet him on the flight line. And he came up and was shaking hands and he was like, "Airman, Airman." And he got to me, and I was the only one that wasn't wearing a parka. And if you serve in the military, you know parkas don't have your name tag; they just have your rank. So because I wasn't wearing a parka, I had my name tag, and he got to me and said my name, and he was like, "Airman," and he said my name because I
Airman
was my last name. and I was like, "Oh fuck, he knows me."
God, I so fucking miss even doing that, like being able to do that GW laugh. Like
it was so weird to meet him because he's like this tall. I could pet him.
I've heard he's a really nice guy when he doesn't have Dick Cheney's fucking craven claw stuck up his ass.
When you got somebody that you're afraid that you're gonna fucking go quail hunting and the motherfucker's gonna shoot you in the face, like.
Well, yeah, that's why she's saying that he was a puppet because he was really a puppet. Dick Cheney was really
a bush.
I've heard.
They put him up there because he was a bush.
Well, I've heard from multiple. And it's weird just because I travel in strange circles sometimes. But I've heard from multiple people who've known him and gotten to spend time, like short amounts of time, but time with him. He's a useful idiot, but he's apparently a really nice guy. He's like a nice, well-meaning guy who just like, I'm president. Hey, what do I do now?
Go ahead and say he's not a complete moron because people say like, oh, he was a C student at Yale, but yeah, he was a C student at Yale.
Yeah, where'd you graduate from, motherfucker?
Yeah. That's not saying a lot, considering at Yale they get fucking triggered over sidewalk chalk drawing.
Also, he had to mud wrestle,
and I apologize for that on behalf of my people.
Yeah, also he had to mud wrestle John Kerry, and then like the loser got butt fucked when Skull and Bones is like, yeah, it's not gay if we all watch. Yeah, JSC Hong $2. Question for Magog, Anna, and Gryphon: what's your favorite toy? I'm really gonna regret that one.
Toy?
Depends on the talk. What are you talking about?
That's just what the question is.
Like childhood toy or something?
I don't fucking know.
I personally like
you didn't clarify.
The submarine Batman from like the really old toy line when they were putting out all kinds of Batmans.
You got to say though, hang on, the old school, I don't know if you guys remember. It was the Batwing.
It's a
toss
with
the pistol grip.
Yeah,
it's from the Michael Keaton era.
If you're talking sex toy, that's going to be another $20, and I will not accept anything less.
It's a toss-up. For me, it's a toss-up between my AR-15 and my two 1911s.
Oh.
There you go.
I'm gonna agree with you on the AR-15. I actually have one myself, and that is a really nice toy.
It's the loudest.
It really is.
It's the loudest BB gun on Earth.
Oh yeah.
I would say outside like my weaponry toys, I have a 25-pound compound bow because I am a teeny tiny person, and my bokens, which are kind of effective.
It's it's a funny thing actually, because Jeff who rest in peace, Jeff. You'll be memorialized here on the Drunken Saints podcast, where we stack people 4 at a time. By the way, I recently got one of these, and I fucking love this thing.
I can't see it because
I like playing with it.
Yes, it's really small.
Yeah, I know it's an ass, but I mean, well, that's the thing though, Magog. Like, how much of this do you really want to feel in your body?
I don't know what it is. I can't fucking see it. My screen's way on the other side of the room.
And it also depends on which part of the body I want to feel it in.
Yeah, it's a collapsible ass.
It's a fucking spring baton. Okay.
Yeah. These are great because
I got like 12 of those. What do you want?
Oh, I know. It was $5. It was great, and it's so much lighter than my pistol, and I can feel better about going out and drinking and being.
When you're a gun owner, it's hard to pick your favorite toy too because you love them all.
I've only got the one. I only got the one right now, and it's my baby Desert Eagle, and I love that pistol forever. And let's
go through the list. Let's go through the list. Okay, I got 3 AR-15s, but I have one in particular that I like to shoot. I've got 6 shotguns. I've got 3 9mm. I've got a 38. I've got a 357. I've got
Sounds like you live in Alabama or something.
Yeah. Fucking let's see. I've got my Browning 308. That's one of my favorite. Oh yeah, that's a preferred round.
I'm just gonna guess here. You haven't said anything about this, but I'm just gonna guess. You're probably a bit right wing, aren't you? I'm just gonna guess about that.
He's right of center.
Yeah, I'm center right. I mean, believe it or not, I mean, compared to what the fucking progressives like to consider left-leaning.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty left-leaning social issues. I'm pretty right-leaning politically.
I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. As a technically one-time soldier in the army, I could say, like, this man with his fondness for guns, his patriotism, his desire for service, joined the Air Force instead of the Marine Corps. And that's the kind of like that's the thing where, like, I want to serve
depends on the job.
I want to serve my country, but I also want a future.
Yeah.
That's not
That's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much what it is.
I'm lucky I fucking survived. Like, I thought I was joining the Air Force. Yeah. And I was like, I probably, if I get sent down range, I'll probably have a desk job. And then I ended up in transportation, ended up driving convoys.
Yeah. And then I
was like, fuck.
Well, I like it too because, like, and we've talked about the story before, so I know it's cool to say. But you in your service, so you got your war wound when you bumped your head. But at the same time, you also, like, you fucking drove a fucking truck over an embankment, wasn't it, to save the lives of people?
It was a concrete barrier they put in the road.
Yeah.
To stop our convoy because we were in a kill zone.
Yeah, so you bashed through a fucking.
So I went through a concrete barrier and hit my head on the ceiling of my own truck and blew a disc in my spine. But at least I got out of the kill zone.
Well, it's great though because if you wanted to be epic and heroic, you could say, I got my war wound, bashing through a concrete barrier to escape a kill zone. But if you want it to be funny, you could be like, I bumped my head.
No, the way I always tell that story, there's always a little joke with it. I Dukes a hazard my fucking truck over that concrete barrier, and in my mind, it even like froze in time and was like, well, what's that? Those boys gonna
freeze
do
right
today?
in the middle of the jump. It's like about this time that Jeremy boy realized that he wasn't going to be able to make it to the bottom without fucking his shit up. And
real quick, $5 too. $5 from Gabby G Wiz. This is from Gog. Screw you, other guys. Heart lol. You don't want to do that with $5 bills though, Gabby. Jeremy here has a habit of chewing them up and spitting them in the directions of the people who fed him dinner.
You know what, Gabby? Just for that slight, you're not gonna see my boobs, and that's on you.
You know what?
He actually.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna have to go and like get dinner pretty soon because I haven't anything to eat all day, and I would love it if we could make it to the end at least of this news story.
Yeah, all right.
Before I have to scoot.
All right. Well, long and short is crazy bitch burned down an entire apartment building because she was upset with her ex-boyfriend there. The final one I really wanted to get into, and then I can let you go in this entire formatting thing that I've done here, getting all these lined up. Mel is going to appear very tall and stretched out.
Nice.
Yeah. That was well timed. But yeah, this last item I just left. I found this. The first Krispy Kreme opened in Ireland to such a frenzy you'd think they'd never seen a donut. It looked like closing time at the county fair or the week before Christmas at the mall. Cars just sitting there bumper to bumper waiting their turn to inch along. Dozens of vehicles lined up and down the aisles of the parking lot, honking as if every single driver in front of them was staring at their cell phone. Oh, come on. That's clever writing, but get to the point. Basically, a Dublin, Ireland Krispy Kreme opened up, and it ended up just... Well, we could see this little video here.
Oh, shit.
It's for Krispy Kreme!
You want to turn the Irish people into Americans? Give them some fucking donuts! And then we'll go ape shit and they'll start shooting each other just like it's donuts. That's what makes Americans American, is our fucking donuts. That and the sriracha sauce from fucking McDonald's. That's just give them some donuts and they'll go fucking nuts. Oh, man.
Well, apparently, yeah.
God, capitalism is awesome.
Now, you were mentioning before, though, that a similar thing happened when a Dairy Queen opened down in your neck of the woods. Yeah?
Yeah. There was a Dairy Queen that opened in my neck of the woods. That was the first Dairy Queen that has opened up here since, like, the 80s, because they all closed down and kind of went... You know, they had to consolidate their business because, you know, it wasn't that great back in the 80s. And now they built a brand new Dairy Queen in my neck of the woods, and that shit made literally like it broke 40-year records for the company.
Headline news.
Yeah, it was like headline news around the fucking world. It was like this Dairy Queen in my area, you know, it wasn't my town, but this Dairy Queen fucking like
close
they
enough
made
to where
like
you can hear the honking.
$200,000 in profits in like the first weekend.
Jesus Christ.
Now here's a funny thing, and actually I know Mel can remember this too. And it was my first time seeing it, but when we landed in LA for VidCon, we were picked up by AG Luck, Egg Luck. Thank you again, by the way, if you're watching. Big fan of the show, I know.
Jesus Christ, yes.
Yeah, but
I was so tired.
yeah. He picks us up after a very long and very very drinky series of flights. And we're hungry, and he's hungry. He's like, hey, all right, hey, let's go to In-N-Out. That's, classic California.
Oh,
and the fucking line looked like this, except nobody was honking. They were all just like, everyone was just sitting there knowing they're not going to go anywhere.
But the line on the inside was really short.
Nobody wants to get out of their cars.
Yeah.
I sometimes blow people's mind because there'll be like a line going all the way through a parking lot at like a restaurant. And I'll like park and go in and order my food to go, and there's like nobody in there.
By the way, all you Californians, you're in and out. I'm not fucking impressed. That was like just a step above a McDonald's double onions burger.
I've never understood what it is. I mean, people fly over. I found they fly over from Europe to go to In-N-Out.
That's all it was.
And Carl, here's the thing, like
it was dripping on me. I can do that at home.
First time I tried In-N-Out, I was insanely hungry and very drunk, and it was perfect at that time. Second and third and fourth time.
Yeah, when you're really fucking hungry and very drunk, sure.
Yeah, all the times after.
But I was not quite that drunk anymore because I ran out of money on the flight.
But honestly, well, yeah, that was your deal. But what I found funny though was after we went through that, we discovered there was a Carl's Jr. just right up the street from the Airbnb we were at.
Yeah, when we left the fucking rental. Yes.
Oh, and that Carl's Jr.
That was the best.
Yeah, we have Hardee's here, but they're the same restaurant.
Hardee's, yeah, Hardee's. That's what I'm used to.
Hardee's is Carl's Jr. I mean, they got bought by Carl's Jr.
Yeah, well, like
same
where
restaurant.
was the place that we went that was closer to the rental that was with Vox?
That was Carl's Jr.
I love their burgers though, man. I was not impressed with Jack in the Box.
No.
You guys took me Jack in the Box for the first time. I've never been to the West Coast.
Down the way from us, we walked up the street with Vox one day.
That was Carl's Jr., yeah.
Well, Carl's Jr. was down the road more.
No,
like we had to walk like.
No, remember the last day we were there? It was the Sunday, or no, it was Saturday. It was before we went to the party at night. Rhino piled us into the car and took us to Jack in the Box.
With you guys, yes.
And I was not impressed.
Jack in the Box is not amazing. Jack in the Box is not amazing.
It
was okay. Don't get me wrong. I did
potatoes and steak, so I didn't give a shit about what the fuck you guys were doing.
Well, it's better.
No, I'll tell you. Okay, you're in the LA area. You want a burger place? Go to Slater's 50/50. Now that is a burger place. Look it up. That is a burger place right there, man. That place is amazing.
I just have to wonder though, because there's an entire genre on YouTube of Irish people try something for the first time, and it's usually
I've
American.
seen that.
I love that shit.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch, but I have to wonder, like, you know, if they don't have shit like West Coast fast food there, like, you know, we see this line of cars here, and that's like an average night at a fucking In-N-Out in Anaheim.
You guys seriously, we have a restaurant here called Fried Pies Shop. It's a little family-owned place. That is one of the best burgers I've ever had here in the South. And do you know why? The meat for the patties they use for the burger is tenderloin steak ground up.
Oh,
Nice.
That shit is fucking delicious. It's like dripping. You're like, oh.
yeah, it's a ground steak and cheese.
Yeah, it's old school.
Yeah.
Like they even wear paper hats and stuff. It's like an old school 50s fucking diner.
Now,
and they cook like tenderloin steak fucking burgers for you, man. That is a delicious fucking burger.
JSC Hong did come back, by the way. He did another $2. Said, my favorite toy is a blue 7-inch vibrator, followed by $5 from Liviana, who said, I'm a progressive left libertarian. It's almost like these are, like, it's one continuous conversation. And I own multiple firearms. Gun control is Democratic Party, which is no way leftist. Her favorite is her PPK-S. Very nice pistol.
Well, now, what was her name again?
Giovanna Liviana.
Giovanna.
Okay, see, I'm a left libertarian as well, so that
She's a
you and me,
green.
girl.
She's a green.
As far as my political spectrum test is concerned, I'm a leftist libertarian.
Get a gun and then you can talk, okay, lady? You and your radioactive vagina. $5 for Seriously Who Farted.
You know,
Magog is the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying son of a gun. $5.
Who sent that message?
That was from Seriously Who Farted.
Seriously, who farted? You are a steely-eyed missile man.
also,
Breadmaster PBJ, silly patrons, Anna's boobs are available for free on the Discord server.
no, they're not, because I scrubbed that shit off after I made it $100 on my Patreon. Fuck you.
$20 from Mr.
I am a mod on that shit.
$20 from Mr. Tickle Trunk via Streamlabs. I just did the, quote, married white couple Google search. It's true, though. White is associated with weddings already, so that probably factors heavily into the algorithm. That's true. In fact, if you look for a white married couple, that's the way to do it. If you search white wedding, what are you going to get? Yeah.
Type in Caucasian married couple and see what happens.
Maybe it assumes that what you mean first, because white wedding is probably searched far more. That's a very good point. So yeah, we've managed to actually blast through the news. This homie needs to go and get himself some food, but we're also closing, and we got about 27 minutes. Do you think you can give us 27 minutes?
I got a hungry roommate, and I myself am hungry. Like I said, I haven't even eaten all day, and I'm at the end of my shit. So I'm gonna have to take my beautiful face and just
fuck right
leave this shit show for now. Yeah.
It's like I hope you figure out. Just give me this. Like, I hope you figure out how to end the stream without waking up at 6 a.m. tomorrow to discover it's still going. So.
Okay. Well, probably having me gone will help, because that's one less loudmouth in this fucking thing. So yeah.
Oh no, I just meant my failure with OBS would be so massive. People would be like, hey, what am I watching?
Why am I seeing his butt?
Everyone
why
is
am I seeing
gone.
his naked butt?
Why is he passed out? And why do I see a
a
screenshot of No Man's Sky and he's passed out in his chair? What the fuck is going on here? So, thank you for coming in, joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, guys. Wonderful to hang out with you tonight. It was fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Really fun.
Oh, it's great to see you too.
Go stuff your face with not Slater's 50/50.
Yeah, unfortunately no, but yeah, I'll see you guys again later. Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right,
bye-bye, everybody.
Let's see what happens. Does it stretch? Oh no! You know what? This is now a female-dominated stream. We were talking about what it means to be progressive. She's gonna push your tits up in front of y'all for a while. I'm sure nobody here minds. You guys go ahead and you throw me $50 in Streamlabs if you want more Anna tits, or give me.
This is Twitch now.
Yes.
Just,
$75 if you want less, and then $100 if you want the people who want less tits to fuck off and you want more. So see, it's great. It's a great way to get a bidding war. Just get some tits going on. Although your forehead's cut off, So, yeah.
That's good, because I have a fucking 5 head.
Ain't nobody looking at your head. Well, your forehead now. Now, so we do have some more format to get through. A little bit of that being the fuck. Oh yeah. Okay. So first, yes, as you may have been aware, I've sort of ditched the undersubbed of the week because frankly everybody finds the shit that they like, and it's harder and harder to find. Keep it going. To find small YouTube channels you might not know. Now with that. We have actually discovered, and this is through the My Circle here, which I'll link you guys now, because, well, I suck at doing this. But I'm going to drop you a link here in the Skype chat. That's from My Circle. This is a wonderful fucking video we're going to watch just a little bit of. And this is actually this is sort of a film theory channel. This man believes Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Is the South Korean.
You guys got it open?
Yep.
And director Bong Joon-ho. I remember seeing his film The Host when it came out in theaters when I was like 16, and it blew my mind. His stuff is really dark and quirky, and he didn't really break out in the US in a huge way until Snowpiercer came out. I really like Snowpiercer, but one interesting thing about it was that it reminded me of my favorite movie of all time. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is a rather brilliant... Oh, shit. Look at that. Everything got fucked up. But bam. Now, just sit a little straighter up. No? There we go. That's all. Oh, my God. It almost looks like Magog's got, well, bigger tits. It's great. How the fuck did that happen? Anyway. I ain't even going to try and fuck with that now because you guys...
Well, because when my internet shits out, I have to shut off my camera for a second.
Oh.
So that might have been it.
Hang on. Let's see. Can we? There we go. Look at that. Look at that framing. That's brilliant. Yeah. I couldn't help myself to remain. It's cool. It's fine. But yeah. So yeah, this is we're just gonna go over a couple points. I'm not gonna spend all. We're not gonna go too far on the whole 14-minute video here.
Let's take a look at the broad commonalities that these movies have.
Yeah.
Both of the plots heavily revolve around economic class structures, children, food, and I mean food in a big way.
I know what people taste like.
Roast beef and a baked potato! Mmm!
But most interesting of all, both of these stories thematically examine sacrifice, choice, and free will. There are few moments in Willy Wonka, if you think about them, play into the idea of fate and the roles that certain people are destined to fulfill.
Now, for those who, now, have you guys, well, I mean, I'm going to guess both of you have seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right?
Yeah, I've seen both movies.
Yeah. Now,
I've seen both.
Now, now, have either of you seen this video yet?
No.
Okay. Now,
No.
I want you on your own to try and think of what the parallels could be. Because this shit gets fucking weird and wonderful and deep. Nothing, huh? Well,
besides the basic plot he's already laid out, I mean, he is right about the basic plot, but I mean, I can't see where it's possibly a sequel.
Oh, let's
No,
look at the hard
not a
facts.
sequel at all. No.
No, it is.
I'd say a
Remember
reboot
that-
at
No,
most.
it is a sequel.
Willy Wonka specializes in creating two different things in his factory: state-of-the-art food production.
Problem is, that's not state of the art.
And experimental modes of transportation.
He's already wrong. I'm sorry.
How do you figure? What, the everlasting gobstopper wasn't state of the art?
Oh yeah, in Willy Wonka it was state of the art, but in Snowpiercer's, grinding up a bunch of cockroaches and making them into protein bricks is not state of the art. Anybody could do that. Literally anybody could do that.
Like, clearly you have never eaten at the panhandle of Florida. But
That just doesn't make it. That's not state of the art. That's just like Here's a source of protein we feed the poor people.
But
Let's grind it up.
Hang on. What does state of the art really mean, though? It's not necessarily forward thinking. It's just the state of the art at the time.
No, you're trying to justify his completely wrong conclusion on making a food. He's obviously, if you watch Snowpiercer, they're obviously using the same kind of food production, assembly line machines that we use today. I mean, it's not state of the art. It's a fucking machine that grinds things up into bricks. True. Not state of the art. That's been around since the beginning of the industrial revolution.
Side world, meaning that Wonka has the technology to make a food-producing factory that is self-contained and self-sustaining.
And this train is a closed ecosystem.
Nobody ever goes in. Nobody ever comes out.
That's right.
With that in mind,
Now, I'm going to be linking to this and, well, anything else that is a worth note afterwards. But to sort of cover some of the fine points, that way I don't get DMCA'd by the guy who made this video, plus the people who made Willy Wonka, plus the people who made Snowpiercer, and then they'll all have to fight over the scraps and remains of this channel. Well, here's a couple things. What if Augustus Gloop, ravenous appetite, seemingly like unstoppable appetite and general just sort of motivations. What if he is actually the assassin? Let's see if I could just timestamp to get there. Nope. Oh yeah, but no, they hide a lot of messages in food. Yeah, right?
Leader of the back section of the train that was secretly working for Wilfred all the time. Would it be too much of a stretch to assume?
Secret operatives. Yes. And the thing is, well, I don't want to spoil it too much, but here's the thing. It's not just a remake or a reimagining. This is actually a sequel. This is a sequel. Snowpiercer is, after watching this video, I am beyond a shadow of a doubt, a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Thoughts? Panel.
That's you can believe that if you'd like. I don't see it. Because if it was a direct sequel, one would assume that Willy Wonka, who built the train to survive the Ice Age apocalypse, would bring around some Oompa Loompas with him.
Ah, but no, here's
where are the Oompa Loompas?
Did you ever see a female Oompa Loompa? Then how can we be sure that their species would continue? And now here's the thing. It's not Willy Wonka who invented the train, but who inherited... Oh, I thought you were like, fuck, I'm done with this. This is stupid.
I'm frozen.
That's okay. Now we've got like lipstick and tits. So, it's a quality stream no matter what I say at this point. But yes, imagine though. Because who does Willy Wonka leave the factory to? Charlie. Charlie is a broken boy from a broken home. Suddenly, he's given this self-sustaining ecosystem within a candy factory. But then, he begins observing climate change taking effect. And then all of a sudden, he kills his mentor. That's right. Yeah, two left. Wild Fox. Sorry about that. There's two's gone all of a sudden, so are the super chats.
He might not be the only character.
You've completely missed the point of both movies, too.
Well, what, the children are the best resource?
No.
For food?
No, Willy Wonka and the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka, is basically like a moral tale. Like where all the naughty children represent basic like deadly sins, like gluttony, envy,
So what you're saying,
wrath.
So what you're saying is that Seven was
vanity.
The real remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
You could make that connection better than Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer was about social upheaval and revolution against the fucking bourgeois.
But now explain to me how Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory wasn't. Okay, maybe not.
Willy Wonka was punishing naughty children in order to find a good child that could take over his creative endeavor. It's like it was like passing the torch to somebody who you trust to take over your company. I mean, that is capitalism, whereas Snowpiercer is completely communism.
All right, well, this has been really fascinating back and forth with Jordan Peterson. We'll make sure to check out his book, 12 Rules for Making Candy. It's going to be out in paperback very soon. But no, it definitely. I'm gonna drop the link to this video because yeah, it's a silly fucking idea, but it's kind of like watching.
It's fun.
It's
Don't
like
get me wrong.
no, it's like watching loose change. In that it's like really compelling, and you're like, wait a second, that's true. Oompa Loompas can't melt pure cacao. What are you to do with that? It's a compelling and fun sort of thing, but it honestly, like, I saw it today and I'm like, fuck it, I'll give this a watch. I haven't slept in 30 hours. Let's see where this goes. And I was like, by the end of it, I'm like sipping coffee and I'm like, well, shit. That's a really compelling argument right there. I think you're right. I think that Wilfred is Charlie.
I can see where you could make connections to the plot progression between the two films, but not a direct sequel. There's just no fucking way. They don't even follow the same format in reality.
I would say like an alternate reality, like a reboot. But
not even that. I mean, Snowpiercer is about social revolution.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing, though. That's the thing is that, like, Charlie came up in what was the last time, like, the last effective golden age, if you look back on it. And then as he grew older, in the Wonka factory, watching the world poison itself. And he realized, because of all of his chemistry thing, and he even goes into this in the video, the fact that, like, what do we see earlier in the film? That's right, Charlie's in chemistry class. He had an interest, maybe even a knack for chemistry. And he knew that that chemical they sprayed into the atmosphere was going to kill off the planet. So he built that train using Wonka tech. It's brilliant. Now, neither of you...
It's not. It's really not. You're high.
Well,
that's all it is.
I wish I was high. It'd make even more sense then. But
you can't even break that film down.
You've been smoking the devil's lettuce.
You gotta understand why Charlie was in the chemistry class. That is a subtle nod to Charlie is about to like step from the realistic, scientific, very literal world into the fantasy world where everything can happen. It's the Wizard of Oz.
So what you're saying is that if the BBC made Breaking Bad, that would be a sequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Because he was all about
just saying you're assuming that Charlie being in the chemistry class at the beginning of the film is somehow connected to his his future as an industrialist, but it's really not. It's to show what the real world is, very bleak and poor, and people are kind of living their lives in shitty, like, middle class to poor lives. And then he is transported from that into the colorful fantasy realm where anything can happen, where mixing up the right chemical agents can create a stick of gum that can taste just like a 3-course dinner, which is impossible. It's the Wizard of Oz format. It's when Dorothy goes from her black and white, bleak, normal life to the colorful realm of Oz. It's the same kind of juxtaposition.
And in the same way, and this will be the last statement, and then we're going to move on because we are pressed for time, we have a format to stick to, but in the same way, you could almost say that Snowpiercer was actually a reimagining of The Wiz. Yes, I see this now. This is so...
Well, it might even be closer to that.
Fuck, I think I just figured out my next video project. Hey. So we're gonna actually move on. We do have the final piece, the piece de resistance. It's the viral cringe of the week. You guys have all seen this awful fucking nonsense already, but we got ourselves a man caught kicking a pro-life protester at an anti-abortion rally. Now, I don't even like that headline. Good, this is from The Independent, but there's nothing to suggest that the woman was even protesting. It does look as though she just walked up with her camera. But a man identified as Jordan Hunt, Uric Hunt, I knew him well, was filmed kicking a pro-life protester in Toronto, Canada. And this guy, oh God, I mean, don't I just want to bury him up to his neck on a beach during low tide. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he has one of those very punchable faces. He is like the standard clone that comes out of like the SJW Left's factory.
Yeah, it just comes out, busts out with some line about, you wouldn't hit a man with glass. It's like, man? No.
Right.
But yeah, so we've got Toronto police are investigating. Now, this dude was fired from his job. I'm not sure what it was. I'm guessing
he was a hairdresser.
Clearly. Yes.
Yeah, he was a hairdresser, and his salon tweeted out that they don't condone violent actions against people who have different political opinions.
But I mean,
they took the right stance on it.
But he's a Wiccan. Look, he couldn't possibly be violent. He's a Wiccan pagan, not because he believes in anything, but because Christianity is for the white man.
I like how he tried to walk it back too. We'll see that. I'll make that point.
Yeah, we'll just take a look at the video, because I mean, the video says everything.
They actually have people filming you the whole time. Cool. Classic. Guess what? Hey.
Destruction of private property.
With the teal and the side shade and our frenzies right there. With
Did he dye? He's got a flower in his hair.
Think you should keep it? It's a baby. If someone is raped when
she
gave birth and she decided to kill her 3-year-old child.
And he winds up.
I meant to get your phone.
Oh, I meant to kick your phone.
Do not touch me. Someone call the cops.
I got the power of God and anime on my side.
Yeah, no, I love it. He's got. I don't know if. Do you think he's actually going gray, from stressing out over people not respecting his pronouns, or do you think he dyed that shit? Look at that.
No, he's a hairdresser. He chose that haircut.
That's true. He chose to look like the dad that he never knew.
Honey, don't you know, like, the frosted gray tips is really in right now? Like,
that's why I came out here to protest dressed like an Easter M&M. Fuck.
Yeah, he's got the moves like Jaeger. You know, like
it's like I got the moves like Jaeger.
He's as graceful as a fucking, as an LGBT drunk.
Do you think maybe, though, they were trying to do, like, an IRL, sort of, like, millennial sequel to Kung Fury Enter the Fist?
No, I see it in his head. He's thinking, wouldn't it be so cool if I could, like, knock this chick's phone out of her hand like the Matrix, right? And it would go totally viral because it wouldn't hurt her, but it would show that I had, like, mad skills. And it totally botched, and he fucking kicked her in the face.
I do love, though. I love when he's like doing his little wind up, right?
He's like biting his tongue.
Not even biting it.
And she decided to kill.
My whole thing, being somebody that actually studied martial arts, is the fact that he had to do like a full fucking setup before he threw that fucking kick.
That's like
you just get into the stance and throw the kick in like a matter of seconds. If you don't know what you're doing, it takes you a second.
Hang on, it is kind of brilliant though when you look at it though, because like when you look at his ridiculous posture, his facial expression, the fact that he's popping the tongue out of the side of his mouth, that's like pure distraction technique. He's like, ha, because you look at this guy, do you think he's actually posing a physical threat to you? Do you think he's actually going to assault you? No.
No, I could beat him to death with my vagina.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'd be the first time he saw one since he fell out of one. But yeah, no, it's this is yeah. You know what? Delete VR, yeah. Major League Telegraphing. And you know what? It's not just telegraphing. He's like telephonically transmitting the fact that he's going to do a really embarrassing roundhouse kick that would only work against a woman who's busy holding her phone on the sidewalk of a downtown Toronto street side. So I really hope let's go. What's his name again? This is like, like they love name and shame. Love name and shame.
What's his name? Tanner.
Tanner.
Aiden.
Jordan Hunt.
That's not better.
No, it's not. It's still pretty terrible.
That's some fucking Gen Xer had their fucking kid straight out of goddamn high school.
Just got knocked up in the fucking parking lot.
Got knocked up when they were 17, and the kid got born when they were 18. They had to drop out of high school, and they think that fucking vaccines cause autism.
His mom, like, you know, after graduating from junior college, decided she was gonna go check out the Wild West and took a trip to LA, and then got stuck in the drive-thru of an In-N-Out, during which her Uber driver decided to just plow her until this thing happened. Yeah. So Jordan Hunt, congratulations! You are this week's viral cringe
more
of the
scarred than I do.
Yeah, he's definitely you know, he's definitely one of those poster childs for what the right is claiming the violent left, and we've seen it before with Bike Lock Guy and, you know, By Any Means Necessary and stuff like that, where it's just like, well, I'm not going to get in trouble for this because I'm right.
For those of us that still hold any sort of like what used to be progressive ideology, please stop.
I'm gonna play kind of devil's advocate here, though. I do think, in a very obvious and public sense, that this man does actually make a very good case for abortion.
Maybe. He might have changed a lot of minds. He might have changed a lot of minds.
It's like the pro-life woman walked away like, okay, no, if I knew I was going to have a son that grew up to be that thing, I'd hoover it myself. It's just, just give me that coat hanger and that Kirby vacuum.
Like, if I went into the future and my kid turned out to be that, and if I wasn't already on the stands of like, yeah, I'm not having kids, I'd rip my uterus out now.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden
with a butter knife.
All of a sudden, all the conservative, like, pro-capitalists who love shitting on communist China, they'd be like, you know, maybe the one-child policy's got a point if you can, like, kind of have a way to figure out what your child's going to turn into. Because if I was going to have 3 of these and 1 actual Rhodes Scholar, yeah, I'd drown the first 3 and then wait for something worthwhile to come along.
Ladies, you're seeing a screen capture of what to expect when you freeze your eggs until you meet just that right male feminist.
What to expect when you're not expecting. So
this is what happens when you marry the dude that you meet in college.
Yep. Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think we've got...
There should be fucking laws.
There should be
fucking laws.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to get married if you're in college and you're under a certain age.
We're gonna get to that Gattaca future though, where it's like, you know, you can just put, like, you know, they take a little micro sample from your fertilized egg and put it in the thing, and then a computerized image of what they'll look like when they grow up is. And this comes up. Oh God, no! Just take it all out. Take all of it out. I don't ever want to have sex with anyone again. I don't think I could. So,
you know, here's the thing. If I had seen that happen on the streets, whether I agree with pro-abortion or not, I would have beat the brakes off that boy.
Oh Christ! And it would have taken 2 hits, and not even the hit of like me hitting you and you hitting the ground. It's like, I'm gonna hit you once, and then when you're falling down, I'm gonna hit you harder, just to make sure you don't get up.
You get somebody like fucking tiny like me, like 4'11", maybe 115 pounds right now, and just walk up and hit him in the dick once. You never try to fight anybody ever again.
No. I will say though, I do look forward to Lauren Southern like actively pursuing this guy to try and find him so she can get footage of being assaulted.
Now there is a Twitter out there that's supposedly his. That's all tweet things like I will not apologize for what I did. That is a troll account.
Yeah, but don't let that stop you from responding to it though too, because it is Twitter, so it's all irrelevant. And the thing is that he will eventually be aware of that account, and maybe he'll look at it, and maybe your message will finally reach him, and his mother will finally regret going through with the pregnancy. She'll be like, well, I'm conflicted. He was right about abortion, but he was wrong with what he did.
But it is right to have a kind of a social upheaval about something like this. The radical left need to start learning that there are consequences to their actions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
It's, you know, here's a decent question though. Which is a better consequence in that sense though? Is it to allow the social media name and shaming that goes on, or is it better for based stickman to run out there and pummel some like effete little twink in a bandana until somehow they get the communism beaten out of them? Are we? Is this actually? Because, you know, well, we saw this with Cernovich being an absolute cunt and ruining James Gunn. Yeah, and people are like, oh well, I don't. Oh, it's not cool, but you know, we're feeding them their own medicine. It's like, yeah, that'll get them to stop doing this shit. But when it comes to this is like a genuine name and shame, and this is the kind of thing that they've been harping on for a while now. So do you think? I mean, do you think that perhaps in this sense, just making it obvious how fucking terrible these people are, how bad they are at being human beings, and then naming them, and then seeing them get fired from their job, for instance, are we crossing
it's something
lines
as
here?
Extreme as this? Like, I don't like people getting fired for their jobs for tweeting something. Like, Twitter should not have that power over our lives, that you can be fired for tweeting something and it upsets people. At the same time, he physically assaulted somebody.
Oh, yeah. Needless.
Yeah, physical assault.
It's based on merit.
Punishment should be met with a punishment.
Right. Yeah, punishment should be met, based on merit. It really should be. You get fired for saying something you regret on Twitter because you were drunk or something. That should never happen. But you should get fired for kicking somebody in the fucking stomach. Like, you're a violent extremist. Get the fuck out of my fucking... If I was the person who owned the store or whatever that guy worked at, I'd fire.
Well, thankfully this happened in Canada where nothing is of actual consequence. So, best of luck, and I wish Jordan a happy future in the Trudeau cabinet for the remaining 6 months it'll have.
Oh.
This has been YouTube Saints. I actually pulled this off. Holy shit. We pulled it off. We did. I mean, it wasn't.
It wasn't a complete shit show.
It wasn't a.
Holy shit!
It was a kind of mostly sort of shit show, but yeah, I think all in all it worked. It's not been bad. Only 3 downvotes. I look forward to people getting back and sorting that out. Links to all of this shit will be down below. Make sure to go and subscribe to Anahata Hearts, the 3rd YouTube Saint. She's the one, like, when you guys see the super cuts of the shows, when you see any social media posts outside of things that are obviously me or Jeff, that's her. That's all her. And we've done a very good job at not paying her. So, but go ahead and check her channel out. She makes really good content. Her shit posts are golds, but a lot of really insightful things too. So you might get a little confused, but just stick with it. Also, go and check out Magog. You guys all know Magog. Subscribe to Magog and Morskar. You know what? Just think, when you think Magog and Morskar, think of Twitch-style titties on YouTube. There they are. just burn that into your mind. And of course, go check out To the Ranting Gryphon. The links to those channels are in the description. Now, links to that really weird video, which proves beyond the shadow of a doubt that Snowpiercer is in fact a sequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That'll be down there as well. But I'll leave it with you guys. We'll start with the ladies first. Mel, anything you want to leave us with? Any final thoughts? Nope. All right, cool. Magog.
Fuck you.
Yeah? What do you got? Still you, Anna?
No, that's it. No, you cut me off. That you can go fuck yourself now.
Oh.
No, nothing.
Only
blue balls forever.
Only Jeremy's allowed to do that.
Yes.
Well, the blue balls thing too. He's allowed to do that as well. But
I've decided after doing the show that if I ever were to commit suicide, I would climb to the top of Nick's ego and dive down to his IQ.
Oh shit!
I was, yeah.
That was good.
I like it. I do. In the meantime, though, yeah, this has been your YouTube Saints episode 77. We made it, guys. We didn't space space shuttle Columbia this bitch. At least not yet.
We actually went through a whole format. Holy shit.
We'll see, more or less, yeah. I think we had some fun. I hope you guys did too. I'm gonna leave you with this image because look, I don't have the curtains, but what? Oh, nope, that's the wrong button. Nope, that was the wrong button too.
That guy.
Good night, everybody.